Good evening and welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast for a very, very special episode tonight. We've got a major announcement to make a little bit later on, but going to be full of the latest news and the views, and we've got some absolutely fantastic guests. So, folks, stay with us over the next 60 minutes. As always, my name is Tonchi Prusak, and I'm proud to be your host for tonight's episode. And we're going to get straight into it. We're going to take a very, very short commercial break from one of our episode sponsors, business advertising sponsors. And when we return, it's time for a major announcement.
Just Turfing Instant Turf is a local, family-owned and operated company which guarantees top-quality products and service. Whether you need turf for a small front garden or a large landscaping project, Just Turfing Instant Turf are the turf installer experts you can trust. They supply and install for most major landscapers in Melbourne and Geelong, with a wide range of premium instant turf and a full suite of turf care products. Chloe and the team at Just Turfing are sure to have all your turf needs covered. Their Melbourne, Geelong and Victorian regional distribution means they can supply your area with fresh cut turf installed the same day hassle-free. Turf options that are available include Eureka Kikuyu, Santa Ana, Tiff Tuff, Sir Walter Buffalo and Sir Grange. For more information, contact either Chloe on 0431 571 558 or Josh on 0457 174 111.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. And as I said at the start of the show, we've got a major announcement, and we're coming to you from a fantastic new venue right in the heart of Geelong. In fact, it's at the Gordon, and it's a podcast studio within the school's technical department. And I've got a great pleasure to welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show someone who's been on the show before, a very, very welcome guest, the CEO of the Gordon, Joe Ormino. Joe, welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
I'm very well, and thank you for having me back. I'm looking forward to our chat.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened since we last spoke about a year ago. And first of all, let me just take this opportunity to thank yourself and everyone at the Gordon for supporting the program last year. It was a huge year last year, our sixth season, and which culminated in a record-breaking 150th episode. We had so many guests. It was great to have Steve Curtin, former co-host, back for a cameo appearance. But we're now into season 7. And Joe, We've got a massive announcement to make, and I'm going to pass the microphone over to you.
Thank you, Tonchi. It's my absolute pleasure to again announce that the Gordon is jumping on board as the major sponsor for the Geelong Soccer Show. So, we're really proud of the partnership we've had for the last couple of years, and again, we're happy to be part of this show again and sponsoring it. It does a great job for the football community, so thank you.
Well, for the second time in about 2 minutes, Joe, to you and the rest of the crew at the Gordon, so much work has gone behind the scenes, and there you have it, viewers. A massive announcement. Thank you to the Gordon. The Gordon will once again be the major sponsor in 2025, and we look forward to having a huge year. For those that probably don't really know too much about the Gordon, let's talk about the Gordon. Joe, what is the Gordon? I mean, I know it's an institution in Geelong, but really tell us what the Gordon offers the community.
Yep. Thanks, Tonchi. It's so for those that don't know, the Gordon's been around for a long time. In fact, 138 years that we've been training and skilling up people in this region. So, and it's all started here in the CBD, in this, not necessarily the studio, but where this studio is located. And we've been training people for a number of different courses. And there's a little bit of a perception that we just do trades, but we do a lot more than that. And so we offer courses in health and community services. We offer courses in ICT. We offer courses, in the trades, in all the traditional trades, and we do a lot of that. But we've got over 130 courses that we offer right across the spectrum of the skills and employment that you could imagine. So if you want a job, there's potentially always a pathway to get to that job through coming to TAFE, and in particular in our region, the Gordon.
Yeah, if you're like me and you're kind of Geelong born and bred, you still refer to the Gordon as the Gordon TAFE, but as we can see, there is so much more that the Gordon offers than just trade and technical subjects. We're so excited about this, Joe, about the partnership, but just for the viewers' benefit, I guess, tell us, why is this partnership important to the Gordon?
Oh, look, for us, it's really, really important. It's more than just a sponsorship of a show. It's, for us, when we partner with organisations, it's about aligning the values that we have and our expectations of what people have of us, our expectations of our partners as well. So, you know, we train up people, and it's all about training people up to become better in their whatever vocation they choose to in terms of the skills. And, you know, that requires, you know, a bit of leadership, resilience, you know, teamwork and all of those things. And when I think about the football community and what clubs do and the environment they create, because let's face it, sporting clubs are the heart and soul of our communities, or I think so anyway. There's a clear alignment in terms of the values that clubs have to what we do, and it's about, you know, helping young kids, I guess, at some stage to transition to really good community citizens in our regions, and that's what we do here at the Gordon.
Fantastic. And look, I mean, it's the world game. It's so diverse. It's so different. I guess it's something that kind of really resonates with the Gordon as well.
Absolutely.
Now, we find ourselves in a fantastic studio, a podcast studio that's relatively new. And I had no idea that such a space existed right in the heart of Geelong till I spoke to the lovely ladies behind the scenes, Carly and Kylie. I hope I didn't get that muddled up. But, Joe, this is something relatively new. And tell us a little bit more about what the podcast studio offers and if it's available to the wider public as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely right. It's a reasonably new studio. As you may know, it's it's located in Geelong Tech School, and as people drive down Latrobe Terrace, people see the Geelong Tech School sign, which is obviously on the Gordon City campus, and it's not your traditional trade schools. It's about technology, STEM, those sorts of things. And one of the offerings we have is this podcast studio. So we have many secondary school students that come through here, and we give them the opportunity to learn and practice hosting podcasts and those sorts of things. So we have thousands of students that come through the Geelong Tech School, and they have access to this and a whole bunch of other really high-level technology. So, look, we offer this also to our industry and community partners, and hence why we're doing at least podcasts from here. So, you know, anyone who's a partner of the Gordon, whether they be part of the community or industry, we're more than happy to support any endeavours that they're looking or any podcasts that they're looking to host. So just reach out to us.
Yeah, and just looking around with the lights, with the drapes and the multiple cameras, it just is an incredible feeling just to be here. It really feels very, very professional. So kudos to everyone at the Gordon for with regards to that. Now, Joe, you've got a long and illustrious connection with the sport. You played yourself not that long ago, but, you know, and you've also got a direct connection with the local football community. Tell us a little bit more about your connection with the sport here in Geelong.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I haven't actually officially retired from playing the game.
Oh, right.
Although I haven't played for 25 years.
Well, we did have the Masters finish up recently, Masters League.
Yeah, I did follow that a bit. Look, I haven't played since I was 32, so that's a long, long time ago. And when I say I haven't retired, it was more that I finished one season, I ended up getting a job in Melbourne, and one thing led to another. It was just difficult to continue playing. But I keep telling people, you know, tongue-in-cheek, that I haven't actually retired for the game. So I might have to come back for one final game at some stage.
I do the same.
I've played. I played quite a bit in my juniors, you know, at various clubs. So Northern Suburbs, which is now obviously part of Karaya. I've played at Bell Park and a number of different clubs.
Yeah.
So
was that when Northern Suburbs was like the Hungarian community?
Exactly.
Wow,
yeah. So Zoli Lusko was.
Yeah.
And his dad were there. So Zoli's still around, and I know he's going to hate if I say this, but I was a junior when he was already playing in the seniors, and he appeared old to me back then, and he's still going. So, but he's a great example of, you know, someone who's deeply passionate about community soccer. Look, these days I follow my son. He plays at Barwon. He's 17. He's just started his journey in state league and playing reserves and a bit of seniors, and so he loves it. And I'm living my soccer life through him now.
Yeah.
But I love the sport, follow the sport. Big Real Madrid fan, Manchester United fan, so Western United fan.
Can we just cut this podcast now? No, that's all good. I'm sure my son will be very happy to hear that.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
To hear that. This is probably deviating a little bit from the script, but very important thing. You mentioned your son. He's doing year 12 now. He's playing football. And you're a professional educator or administrator in the education area. How important is it for kids in that, particularly VCE, to have a little bit of a kind of a break from the study, from the pressures, and have something like football to fall upon?
Absolutely. We all understand that especially year 12 is quite a heavy year, and to have that break from that constant pressure of needing to get a good ATAR score if university is where you want to go to, or trying to work up to whatever pathway you want. And for us, it's about going to TAFE, and we're quite biased about that. But for him, it's just a bit of a release for him. He loves the game. It's it helps him relax. It keeps him fit, keeps the mind fit. And we encourage it. A lot of parents try to potentially cut back, and that's their decision, because just focus on your studies. But I think it's an important part of trying to keep that balance in your life and continue to grow both within what you're doing at school, but also out as part of the community. So really good kid, really well balanced, and he's actually doing really well, better than any other year, because I think he's continued playing the sport.
I know many moons ago when I was working for Football Victoria, and that under 17s, under 18s age group was so difficult, because you used to find a lot of kids dropped out, and that importance of balancing your studies and balancing it with a little bit of free time, downtime, and football is that perfect release of energy, of tension. It's great to see that in recent years some of those kids are staying on and playing, whether it be in a social setting or whether it be with the in the senior setup. Let's get back to the Gordon and what it has to offer. What are some of the courses offered here at the Gordon that would most appeal to maybe members of the football community here in Geelong?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the Certificate 3 in Sports Turf Management and Certificate 4 in Leisure and Health. So that might be something that, if you're really passionate about sport and you want to continue, you want to play the sport, but also continue that involvement beyond your playing days. Although nowadays with masters you can play forever, you can do those sorts of courses. But we've got a really broad offering, and if you are a volunteer at a club as well, and we know that, as I said earlier, that volunteers are the heart and soul of our community clubs. You might want to do things like first aid or RSO, so responsible serving of alcohol. You might want to do food handling, so you can serve and volunteer in the bar and those sorts of things. So and coffee making.
Oh, that's a good point.
We do deliver coffee making, and I know last time you were here, we had a coffee at our social cafe, which is an amazing place. And I have to say, it's the best coffee in town.
I recommend it. I'm a bit of a coffee connoisseur, and I recommend it.
If I don't say that, and I actually know from experience, we're teaching people how to make coffee. So, it is a brilliant place to have coffee. But what I'd like to tell our viewing audience is, and certainly for the community clubs, is that we're happy to, again, sponsor training in those areas that I've just talked about. So first aid, food handling, RSA, and coffee making. So if the clubs are interested, I know they've got lots of volunteers who are working in those clubs. More than happy for them to reach out to us, and I'll have to look at the phone number, reach out to our team, which is 1300 954 371, or go onto our website, thegordon.edu.au. And if none of those work for you, just reach out to our marketing team. They'll be able to help you. So really proud to be able to partner up in that way and do a little bit of sponsorship for the clubs as well, in particular the volunteers.
And it's great going out to, I do get a chance to get out to a lot of football clubs around the region, as well as down in Melbourne as well. And it's great to see a lot of the barista coffees nowadays. Before it used to be just instant coffee or tea bags and what you're not. And if you're lucky, you're lucky. But these days, with particularly when you start some early morning games with the young fella, I tell you what, those coffees do come in handy. Now, Joe, free TAFE courses,
Yes.
they've been in the media in recent years, and I guess now we're into an election year, so the pollies are always going to spruik it. But let's get down to the nuts and bolts, free TAFE courses. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so look, the Gordon offers 40 free TAFEs, and they're across a variety of different disciplines, so things like early childhood, accounting, nursing, those sorts of things. And they're free because they're areas where there's jobs in demand. So we have a great big focus on offering courses that are going to lead to employment.
Mm-hmm.
And so from our perspective, adopting these free TAFE policies that government's got allows us to provide people with that opportunity, remove those financial barriers that are quite significant when you think about the cost of going to uni or the cost of paying fees at TAFE. Allows people to follow their passion in a pathway that they're really keen to work in. And so removing that barrier, we've seen a significant increase in those areas where we're offering free TAFE. So again, I'd spruik that to our viewers that if you are thinking about a career, there's heaps of opportunities through free TAFE to pursue that passion.
There you go, Joe. We're speaking with Joe Ormino, the CEO of the Gordon. And Joe, you've just now quashed that old saying that nothing in life is free. Well, there you go. Some things are. The Gordon offers more than 40 courses. Now, recently, the winners were announced for the 2025 Gordon Awards for Excellence, which is a very prestigious event on the calendar for the Gordon. Tell us about the awards and their recipients.
Yep. So, look, it was a fantastic night. It was actually last night, and we had, I think it was about 40 odd students who were nominated for their excellence in the course that they participated in, and we had a number of different categories, and we then had also announced the Apprentice of the Year and also the Student of the Year, and there's some amazing, passionate stories that came out on the night from those students who really excelled, but also those that excelled but had significant barriers to excel in the course. So there was one great example last night of a woman who was a former police officer and had an injury through the police force and was unable to continue as a police officer. She was just brilliant. Her story. She spoke about how she had to look for another career, and her dad was an architect, and she wanted to follow that passion as well. Looked into things and decided that was something she wanted to do. So she's become a graphic designer, and her story is just amazing. The battle that she had to go through, and what it told me is that it gives TAFE not only is there for people who come straight from schools. That there's other reasons why people study at TAFE. So, you come from school into a trade or study to be a nurse or what have you. But then we've got those people who want to upskill, but importantly, there's also those that want a career change, and this was a great example of that, and just really exemplified that TAFE is accessible to everybody.
Well, that's quite an inspirational story, because as we get older, we like to be in our comfort zones, and sometimes trying to get out of that to embark on a whole new adventure can be very, very daunting at the best of times. Now, speaking of inspiration, Joe, if any viewers tonight have been inspired to act, you've already mentioned those contact details. Would you mind repeating how anyone interested can get in touch with the Gordon?
Absolutely. So we have our information nights coming up in May, so May the 6th to the 8th, and we'll be holding those both here at the City Campus, at East Campus, and your viewers might not know that we've also got campuses in Werribee, so we'll be hosting some information sessions there as well. So you can register online. So if you go into our website, again, www.thegordon.edu.au, or that phone number again, 1300 954 371, and you can register for those events. And if you don't know what it is that you want to study, we've also got our Skills and Jobs Centre, and that they provide a free service, one to help you decide maybe what course you want to pursue, and if you're looking for a job, they can also help you get a job and help you with your resume writing and those sorts of things. But information sessions, come and meet our teachers. They're passionate, they're fantastic people to engage with, and they'll tell you about our courses and so on. So I encourage people to reach out.
Awesome. Now, finally, Joe, I'm going to play the role of the genie. I'm going to grant you 3 wishes, and I'm going to ask you, what 3 things would you like to see happen to the Geelong football community, the soccer community here in Geelong? What in your ideal world would you love to see happen?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. Look, I think the continued growth of the game, number one. I think there's some massive effort going on in the community to grow our game. We just have to look at the number of juniors involved, both male and female. It's just fantastic to see. If I had a wish around that, it would be around creating better facilities for our community. So, for example, I can speak in terms of the Barwon Soccer Club where my son plays. They've got 2 grounds, and with the number of juniors and the number of teams they've got, the ground gets used quite significantly, and come mid-season with the rain and so on, the ground is...
I think it hits to like 600 participants, and how logistically you can do on 2 fields is just a wonder.
Absolutely. The second one, I suppose, would be, I've been to Ballarat, to a number of different regional areas, and they've got a soccer stadium.
Yes.
Why does Geelong not have a soccer stadium? I hear... And I'm an avid AFL fan as well, but, I've seen what the Geelong Cats have done, and now they've got that further redevelopment around the back that they're talking about, another little stadium. They've got the Deakin facility. It's time for the sport in Geelong, which is most participated in, to have its own stadium, to really showcase the sport and to be able to bring, top quality games and attract people to those venues. So that for me is another one. And I guess the third one is I'd just love to see more girls and women play the game and be given equal access. I think the clubs are doing that really well. We just want to get more women into the game, I think. And so for me, that would be a fantastic outcome as well.
Maybe we can follow the path of what basketball has done. It had a WNBL team before. There's an NBL team maybe. If we can't get into the A-League, at least maybe we could have an A-League women's team down the track. I wish I was a genie, but I'm not, unfortunately. Back to reality. Joe, thank you so much once again for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. We look forward to catching up with you, no doubt, sometime throughout 2025.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, Tonchi, and great show. Love watching your podcast each week, and thank you for the opportunity for the Gordon to partner with you again.
Good on you. Thank you. That was Joe Ormino, the CEO of the Gordon. Folks, we're going to take a break, and after the break, we'll continue with tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, proudly brought to you by our new major sponsor, the Gordon. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's time now for the news desk, and it's a big show tonight, a massive show, so let's get straight into it. On the weekend in the Victorian Premier League 2 division, there was the two games involving the Geelong sides unfortunately resulted in 2 consecutive losses. As we can see, Werribee City defeated North Geelong Warriors on the Friday night, 1-0. By all accounts, the Warriors were the dominant side on the park. They just weren't the dominant side on the scoreboard. On Saturday night, Geelong made the long trek to Shepparton, and the trek home, or the return home, was made even longer because of the result. Yes, you can see that right. 5-0 loss after Goulburn Valley Suns took a 3-0 lead at the break and went on to record a very, very big 5-0 win. I guess the sorrow, post-match sorrow, was drowned out somewhat by the efforts of one of the club sponsors, Mustafa's Kebabs, which is well known around Geelong. They invited the entire Geelong Soccer Club entourage, the players, the coaches, the officials, the supporters, everyone back to one of their restaurants, and dinner was on them. So well done to the club sponsors there. It certainly made the trip home that little bit easier. On to the VPLW, the Victorian Premier League Women's Competition. Round 4 action saw Geelong Galaxy host top side Avondale FC. And at one stage, Geelong Galaxy was leading 2-1 thanks to goals by Vanessa Mazaraki and Camilla Fresneta. But the top dogs did come back and eventually ended up with a 4-2 win at Myers Reserve yesterday. Having a look at the ladder positions there. After 9 rounds, cannot believe it's already 9 rounds into the season. Goodness me, before too long it'll be the halfway mark of the season. North Geelong finds itself in 7th position. Geelong, meanwhile, have dropped down to 3rd last position. Over in the on the right-hand side in the Victorian Premier League Women's Competition, after 4 rounds, Galaxy are in 6th spot. 1 win, 1 draw, and 2 losses from their opening 4 matches. Okay, looking ahead to this weekend, round 10 in the Victorian Premier League 2 competition. North Geelong Warriors, who are in 5th, they travel to Nunawading City in 14th. Sorry, the Warriors are in 7th position. That is a typo. That game on Saturday will take place at Marnie's Reserve. Geelong Soccer Club in 12th, they travel to second last placed Whittlesea United, and it's another Saturday evening fixture with that game at Epping Stadium kicking off at 6 p.m. On Saturday night, unusual for the Galaxy, instead of playing on a Sunday, they will be playing a Saturday night fixture under lights at Eltham North Reserve. Kickoff is at 7 p.m, and the 6th place Galaxy will take on the 7th placed Eltham Redbacks in what should be a Saturday night feast of football down Melbourne way. In State League action over the weekend, well, it was certainly a mixed bag of results for a lot of the teams. Corio playing their first ever Sunday home game in front of a bumper crowd at Hume Reserve, were down 1-0, and then the Eagles came back in the second half through a Xander Stojanovski equaliser. 1-1 the final result there. Geelong Rangers travelled to JT Gray Reserve in Williamstown and came away with a 2-0 loss. Surf Coast have made it 3 wins from 3 games. Another big win, this time over Plenty Valley Lions, 4-1. At home on Saturday night, Christian Mann, Brandon Tchaikovsky, Marcus Trupkovic scoring his debut goal, and Milo Mullins-Gange scoring 1 apiece to make it 3 wins, as I said, from 3 games. And Surf Coast sit on top of the State League 3 competition with 9 points. In State League 4 action, another big crowd attended the local derby on Friday night, Bell Park and Lara United at the Bell Park Sports Club. The end result was a 0-0 result. And the big news to come out of this was Lara United's new signing, Carl Zielich, saving a penalty to make it 0-0 against his old side. Balmoral defeated Deakin Ducks, inflicting their first loss of the season with a big result of 4-0. And Barwon was on the wrong end of a 7-1 thrashing at the hands of Point Cook, Milton Bailey scoring the only goal for Barwon. In State League 5, Ocean Grove made it 3 wins from 3 games, so they're having a great start to the season. 2-0 win over ETA Buffalo at home, with David Favetta and Patrick Scusa scoring 1 goal apiece. Looking ahead to this weekend, Saturday evening, Corio takes on Ballarat City, so first versus third up in Ballarat. Game at Moorshead Park kicks off at 5:30 p.m. In State League 2 action, 5th placed Albion Rovers hosts Geelong Rangers, who have dropped down to 9th position. In State 3, Surf Coast travels to 6th place Sunbury United. That game at Lingama Park, and hopefully the Coasters can make it 4 wins from 4 games. They've really had a fantastic start in the to life in the State League 3 division. 2 Friday night games involving Geelong clubs.
Point Cook hosts Lara United at Saltwater Reserve. That kicks off at 8:30. And also kicking off at 8:30, once again up at Bell Park. Now, this should be a fantastic game. It's a case of 5th versus 4th. Bell Park overtakes Deakin Ducks on the ladder. Deakin Ducks are still above Bell Park. They are in 4th position. Bell Park are in 5th position. Certainly, both these teams will be looking to move up the State 4 ladder with a win over their adversary. And Grovedale Reserve on Saturday will be the venue for the Barwon versus Barnstoneworth United clash. Barnstoneworth United, as you can see on the screen, are in 7th position. Barwon have dropped down to 12th. And finally, last but not least, Ocean Grove, who are in 3rd position, they travel to Truganina, who are 7th. And that game will be at Arndale Park Reserve at 3 p.m. on Saturday. This weekend, we've got the Western United Cup, the inaugural Western United Cup Geelong taking place at Stead Park, and that's from Friday right through to Sunday. And we've got a very, very special guest a little bit later on in the program when we'll be catching up with ADRIAN CANNATELLI, who is the Community Development Coordinator, and he'll be talking to us all about the Western United Cup Geelong. Okay, folks, that's the end of tonight's news desk. We're going to take a short break, and we will continue with tonight's guests on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Don't go away.
Your future is in your hands. There is a whole world waiting for you, and your choices determine how you will impact it. At the Gordon, we recognise this. That's why we champion hands-on learning. Get your hands dirty. Grab what's in front of you. Learn by doing. Turn your passion, your ideas, and mould them into your creations. You'll be supported the entire way. You'll grow your skills in small classes, guided by teachers who are industry experts. You'll learn in state-of-the-art facilities or out in a real-world workplace setting. Your hands-on experience will increase your understanding and put you ahead of your university peers. You'll graduate work-ready, and you'll graduate sooner, with a huge range of qualifications to choose from and support services to enable your success. Now is the time to continue your learning journey. At the Gordon, your future is in your hands.
Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. And for tonight's guest, we've got something very special, actually. We're coming to you from a new venue. The Gordon in the city has got its very own podcast studio as part of the Geelong Technical College campus. And we're making full use of this wonderful facility that is also available out to the public as well and to various school groups around the region. And today it's my absolute pleasure to welcome as our very, very special guest. He's the Deputy Chair of the Geelong Region Football Committee, or the Football Geelong as it's known now, Robert PALMARICIOTTI. Robert, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks for having us, Tonchi. Yeah, much appreciated. And you're looking forward to these to this podcast in this beautiful studio, by the way.
How good is it? It's
nice facilities.
Very, very professional. Mate, this is a lovely surprise. Because normally we do get Mike McKinstry, who's the chairman of GRFC, and for something a little bit different, we thought we'll talk to you, and so we thank you very much for coming on the show. Geelong Region Football Committee, or is it now?
No, it's definitely
Geelong?
a committee, and people get confused. It's like that Mike and I and a few others represent Geelong. It's not like that. It's actually a committee of clubs. Mm-hmm. So even you hear some noise, the committee did that. And you think, well, the committees are the clubs. Yeah. It's 21 clubs together, right? No decision is made without the clubs. We have monthly meetings and clubs decide how the money's spent, what decisions we make. Yeah. So it's a bit...
A representative body of the clubs.
So anyone making a comment that, the club this, that, well, the club is part of this committee. The club is the committee. Right.
Good point. Now, with Easter just around the corner, and traditionally, this year, Easter being a little bit later, and traditionally the local community leagues, the junior leagues, all kicking off just after Easter. It's fast approaching the new 2025 community season. What's the state of football like from your point of view here in Geelong?
Oh, absolutely. Look, the highlight again is the participation rate, right? The growth, and the numbers will come out when registrations finish. Will be end of April, into May, but the growth is just far exceeding even our expectations, let alone any forecasts. And we'll talk about the regional facility maybe lately. That I mean, I don't want to quote any numbers, but again, we're certainly in double-digit growth again, on top of a larger base, of course, right?
Because last year was a big record,
massive,
wasn't it? It was
every year. We've been in double-digit growth for a number of years now, but on top of, remember, on a larger base. So, there's hundreds and, of extra participants this year at each club. Most clubs have shut the doors already at this point. Yeah, they're not accepting any more registrations. They just can't. There's no capacity. Yep.
And I guess that takes me to the next question. You both of you have been at the helm of the GRFC for the last 3 years or so.
3 years, right? 3 or so together.
Gosh, there's been a dramatic amount of change over those 3 years. But how would you assess the progress of the sport from your perspective?
Oh, look, look, there's an aspect where I think if we did nothing in the sport, it would still grow. I think there's, a lot of people talk about the marketing and so, but I think at the end of the day, kids love to play the sport. It's just a sport that's why it's the most popular sport in the world. And without doing anything, I think we'd see growth, right?
Yeah. And I guess there's a lot of people moving into the region, either it's down Armstrong Creekway, up Lara Way, a lot of more and more people moving into the region.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's population growth, exactly, but just growth. The sport is just exploding. People are trying it. Maybe kids playing multiple sports and so forth. But yeah, we see it. And then what we try and do as a committee, so it's Mike and I and the clubs, is provide the right foundations to enable and support more growth. So in the last 3 years, first of all, we didn't have a strategic plan.
Yep.
Okay. You may not see any value in a strategic plan, but you know the value when you haven't got one. Try going to councils, and all 5 councils have now endorsed the plan. So that's the first thing they say, where's your plan? Once you've got a plan, that underpins and supports a lot of the initiatives. Right? Otherwise, so we needed a plan. We had no social media or website presence, and you need that today to be. We couldn't communicate, so we developed that. We've done a competition restructure. We're working much better with Football Victoria, and they've to some degree lifted their game. Had some changes up there. We know where we stand with our finances now. The money. It was always saying, Football Victoria just take all our money. We're not investing in the region. Well, we know what money we can spend now, and the more participation we've got, the more we can invest.
Yeah.
Right? So we're investing, and So in all, I think we've set really solid foundation the last 3 years to grow and to implement some of the initiatives, which I think we'll talk about. We've seen in the press just in the last couple of days. Yep.
Let's speak about that. Yep. Like on the weekend, in Saturday's edition of the Geelong Advertiser, football, the real football, made it onto the back page when there was actual talk about a need for a regional soccer facility, as they call it.
Yep.
And in the actual article, it mentioned a multi-sports hub as well as a regional soccer facility being looked at numerous locations by the council. Later, the Geelong Advertiser put up on its page, on its Facebook page, a poll: do we need it or not? Why are we even asking the question?
Yeah, the reality is, council a couple of years ago did some studies on whether we needed this, and it was emphatic that the conclusion was we need it, and it's going to happen. Okay, no doubt. Why was it going to happen? Because of the growth, the need for it. We've got nowhere to showcase the game. We need it simply because we've just haven't got enough capacity to cater for all the participants. That was a couple of years ago. They said we need this. Also, every other major region in Victoria had one or was going to have one. The thing is, after 2 years since those reports done, those reports showed that we were going to grow at a certain rate. And by, say, in 5-10 years, we'd have these numbers. Within a year of the report, we've already blown those numbers out of proportion, right? We're already past those numbers. We're past the forecast in that report that said where we'd be at in about 6 years' time.
There you go. So we're 6 years ahead of.
Oh,
ahead
we
of
were
everyone,
miles
yeah.
ahead, and
We
let
know
alone this
that.
year's
Yeah.
numbers, and then every year we grow on a larger foundation. So we're ahead on that. Since the report, a couple of more regional facilities have been in, the one in Wodonga and
Yep.
Albury, and one down Gippsland Way.
Yeah.
Okay? We are the only region, and the major one, by the way,
That's
to not
right.
have this facility.
Yeah.
And with by far the largest participation.
I was in
Right.
Ballarat on the weekend, and every time I see the Ballarat regional facility, I just, there's envy, there's jealousy, there's a bit of pride, I suppose, as well.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you just really think why, and that one's been around for 10 years or so, maybe even more. But I guess what I want to ask is, we're preaching to those converted already on this show, of course. But what can we as a football community, so that Football Victoria, GRFC, the clubs themselves, the players, the parents, the supporters, what can we as a community do to one day get this dream become a reality?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Support it. We've got to support it. You know? We've never been in this position. We've sort of revived those studies. They were done a couple of years ago, and for whatever reason, it's stalled. The progress on this, but it's been revived, and particularly by some councils with Eddie Contell and Stretch and Anthony Aiken. So very supportive of this. The growth drives it as well. There's just a need, the needs there. Council, I'm sure, don't know what to do. Clubs are, like this year, for example, half of our clubs will have more than 500 participants each.
Wow.
Like
once upon a time in the region, that was
Really?
Considered a super club, wasn't
Yes.
it? Now it's almost becoming the norm with a lot of clubs.
One club will probably have 900 participants this year, right? Like, that's ridiculous. So
Let me
half
guess,
our
Surf
club,
Coast or-
correct.
They are
Others are well over 500. Half our clubs are. I mean, that's a small business you're running. Then they would actually have more participants, but they've actually closed the doors.
Yeah.
So we just cannot. I mean, the capacity crunch comes at training time in winter. You just have not. You've got 5 days a week. Okay, 5 days a week. You need lights, a couple of pitches. There's just no room to train.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to train. Okay, so you get a capacity. You get a capacity issue on the weekend for matches, and we need to rethink how we increase capacity. So there's thoughts that we're going to plan early on this year about next year. I mean, we just have to utilise our pitches more, potentially start running competitions on Saturday mornings, Saturday afternoons, give people more options and so forth. Because if you stick to the traditional 6 months a year, you know, under 7s, 9s, 11s only play on Sunday morning, well, good luck. We're at capacity now. Well, without any facilities.
Well, we're seeing more and more things happening in the off-season, aren't we? Curva Coaching, one of the major business advertising sponsors of this show, run a huge Curva Cup in the off-season. And when we spoke to Adrian Layer in the very, very first season, he said, look, they're expecting it's going to explode.
Yeah,
so that's the young kids. We had the Masters summer competition recently. Same sort of thing. There's huge numbers in there. That's people of our I guess our vintage. But it's becoming more and more an all year round thing, isn't it?
Historically, we worked. There was winter sports for 6 months of the year, council tenure, and then you went to the summer sports, cricket and so forth. And some clubs, some of our clubs share with cricket, but a lot have got venues 12 months of the year. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So we can spread it out. Yep.
Now,
Fantastic service, food and coffee, well-stocked produce and groceries at very reasonable prices. 5 stars for the coffee served, beautifully made latte, everything you need in this wonderful little shop. Staff are always friendly and helpful, an absolute treasure to the community. These are just some of the glowing comments of praise by both regular and first-time customers of the iconic Birregurra General Store. The De Cunto family, well known in Geelong football circles, has run the iconic Country General Store since 2020, and apart from providing top quality service, they, along with their extremely pleasant and friendly staff, make sure that everything you could possibly need is well stocked and always available. Located at 59 to 61 Main Street in Birregurra and open all 7 days a week, the Birregurra General Store is open from 6 a.m. each weekday and 7 a.m. on weekends. If in Birregurra, pop in and say hello to Steve and Angus.
Now, we're speaking with Rob PALMARICIOTTI, the Deputy Chair of the Geelong Region Football Committee. Rob, it's a federal election year coming up next month. Just today, Richard Miles, member for Corio, announced a $4 point something million promise to North Shore Football Club and netball and cricket and yada yada. But it's a club that's really struggling participation-wise. And look, I'm not going to get into it. They should get it. We should get it. Not to. All sports absolutely should get in. And I'm a big follower of the basketball scene through my daughter who plays. And that's enough. We could talk about that. But let's talk about our sport, football. Have any of the federal candidates, let's call them that at this stage, have they been approached? Have any of them shown even a little bit of an interest in their organisation or party coming to the parties, so to speak, pardon the pun, about,
Sure, absolutely.
Some sort of promise.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So it's more, there's two approaches. One is a club-by-club approach, so each club is to approach. And I know in the Corangamite electorate, Libby Coker has promised, I don't remember the figure, might be $5 million for Devlin's Road, which is basically for Ocean Grove. Yeah. Ocean Grove. So she's committed to that, to a new facility to cater for not just our sport, but footy, and they're at capacity there. I don't know if you've ever been, but like within 3 minutes, the car park's full, right? It's chocker. You've got footy and soccer next door.
That's where Ocean Grove Soccer Club is expected to relocate, is that right?
A new facility, Devlin's Road. Correct. So Libby Coker's done that. Club by club are advocating for this. And historically, I don't think we've been as good as other sports at this at all, right? At all. We need to do better. As far as at a global level for a regional, sub-regional facility, maybe just a fraction early for this election. We haven't quite got our ducks in order, right, to go. Because if you go for an election promise, you need a bit of detail. So, well, what's your facility look like? Have you got any plans and so forth? So we're not quite ready. It doesn't mean we're not trying, right? But we might be a fraction early. There's a state government election next year. And that'll be massive for us because a lot of these regional facilities are funded by state government, by Sport and Rec Victoria. So a little bit of council, a little bit us, a little bit the state and the federal as well. So it'll probably be a next year thing for, prior to the election to get this funded. We need to take another step up in relation to our plans, update the participation numbers to show the desperate need for this, because I think it's a timing thing now. It's when. When, and we need to advocate for the timing. And getting back to your question, Tonchi, about what can the community do is support, Few little comments you see, the game this, we're disjointed, we're this and that, whatever. That doesn't help. Whinging, and we tried this 10 years ago. I'm not sure we did, right, in this detail, right? That doesn't help. If you're going to whinge to your local politician and say we need this, right?
That's a
say
very good point.
Say that you roll up on a Sunday and there isn't, 1 square inch of space left for anyone to play. Okay, just tell how your next door neighbour tried to join your local club and couldn't. That's what we need. We don't need any comments, this, that. Throwaway lines. The clubs try hard, but the GRFC doesn't. That's a complete misunderstanding because GRFC are the clubs. So
And in years gone by, it's thankfully it's becoming a thing of the past. But you had open jealousy, club administrators openly criticising why a certain club would get money or whatever the case may be, and particularly up in the northern suburbs, we now see. I think every club has got some sort of funding. And I guess a lot of it has to do with the championing of the cause by some of the councillors of the city of Greater Geelong, namely, and you mentioned them just before, we had Eddie Contell, Anthony Aiken, who've done a great job, and we always have to be on their back and push them more. Kylie Grisbeck, previously, who's now more associated with Lara United Football Club. And more in recent times, I guess the mayor, Stretch Contell, and it's probably Eddie pushing him and saying, come on, big bro, you got to do it. But look, all jokes aside, the council and that report we talk about, the Geelong Advertiser, that was really Eddie Contell and Anthony Aiken, Stretch Contell, really pushing that cause. And I'm sure there's other councillors on board. But look, the discussion there seems to focus a lot on a multi-sports complex in Armstrong Creek that would cater for basketball, cater for football, other sports as well, and also the potential of housing a regional soccer facility somewhere in the northern suburbs. I think the report goes on to say they're looking at 10 different locations. What do you think, from a personal point of view, I guess from a professional point of view, will we see one or both or either of those dreams, those projects in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I think if I was a betting man, I'd suggest, one definitely. And we need to keep pushing, to support this and expedite it, with the latest participation numbers and the need for it, a need. I mean, everyone. If it comes down to funding, a lot of funding, and as I said, there's a numerous source of funding, and I forgot to mention even developers as well.
Yeah,
approaching developers. Developers are keen, and some are very keen on contributing to this, right, for their own benefit, no doubt. Yeah, sure. but there's numerous sources of funding, right? So we need to get this right, expedite it. Yeah, well, I mean, given every other region in Victoria's got a facility like this, I don't think we can't say, Geelong will get it in 7 years' time. I mean, we'll be more than a decade behind every other region
By
in
then,
Victoria.
our numbers will be even more. And then we'll need two regional facilities, one north and one south of Perth.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, the plan is to have a sub-regional in the south, which is sort of in the Corangamite electorate, right, in the south, to cater for the massive growth in that area. Massive. And then to have one in the north, sort of from on the Melbourne side coming into Geelong, which maybe could showcase larger matches as well, have a relationship with Western United as well. So that's what the studies from Geelong Council have shown. Shown.
Great to have Western United play at least their I guess some of their games like the Australia Cup games or the A-League W games, for example, because they've got a 4,000 capacity stadium, temporary stadium at the moment, up in Tarneit, and it seems to serve the club well.
Absolutely.
Back to local matters. The GRFC is set to revive the All Abilities League in 2025. Now, that is exciting stuff. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, a little bit more. We're working on that and working with various other parties, including Leisure Network, to sort of revive that. I mean, there was a league, if you'd call it, prior to COVID. Then COVID hit along. And so the demand was there. We believe the demand is higher and we can do it bigger and better going forward. We've won a few little grants, applied for some others, working with Football Victoria to revive all that. How much we do this year, I'm not sure, but definitely it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to.
Correct.
Any clubs at the moment on board? Or?
Oh, yeah, good point. Geelong, and that's the issue. Each club does their own thing. With volunteers, not necessarily with the expertise required to cater for people with disability. So Geelong Soccer Club have been championing the cause a lot in the north, Armstrong United in the south, but bits and pieces, and this is on top of everything else it takes to run a club. So, so if we could do things Geelong wide and centralise this with more experts and support, it'll work. Another reason why we need a central regional facility. Otherwise, everything we need, everything we try and do centrally, you need a club to say, "Can we borrow your facility?" Oh, where's the equipment? Oh, we'll transfer the equipment from storage. Storage, which is a storage king. It's embarrassing at times.
Very nomadic. I hear you. That's for sure. And we can certainly talk about so many other things connected with regional facilities and all of that kind of stuff. But look, apart from everything we've talked about, 2025 promises to be a massive record-breaking year as far as registrations is concerned. What else can we as a region look forward to in 2025?
Yeah, I think lots of work around that. It's cater for the looking to plan for next year as well, to just somehow cater for this participation, the people that are missing out, right? We need to think outside the square, right? We will push along really aggressively the sub-regional and regional facility. We've got another couple of wins. I mean, participation growth is increasing as it is. I mean, get ready. I mean, if you weren't aware, Australia is hosting the Women's Asian Cup next year, early next year in March. And you know what the Matildas did last time? Good luck.
Participation rates.
Good luck. The Men's World Cup is next year as well. That looks like Australia will qualify as well. That just provides, and with us just sitting on our heels, doing nothing, that has always provided an extra 10%, right? Extra,
Do we need new clubs? Can the club, other
Yeah,
clubs
possibly.
at capacity at the moment? Yeah, and
Yeah.
where would be the ideal kind of, if you looked at the map of Geelong, where would you kind of look at and say, oh yeah, there's a vacuum here or there's a vacuum there? And if anyone's watching and from that area,
No, good point.
where could we?
Yeah,
where could we
good
create
point.
new
Good
clubs?
point. I mean, I don't want to anticipate them, but you can work it out by yourself by looking at a map. If you divide north and south, the closest club in the south is Barwon in Grovedale,
Yep.
and then the next closest club on the north is Corio. So there's no club in between there, right? Maybe Geelong City down at East Geelong, sort of, but there's no club in the sort of more central area of Geelong, and that's probably easier said than done. Just stick a club in the middle. But otherwise, any in the periphery, the new developing areas in the north, south. So there are spots. Wherever there isn't a club, I think we do, need.
Well, I always used to say Warm Ponds, Highton, Wandana Heights, that entire area didn't really
hasn't
have
got
a club. And Deakin Ducks only last year started juniors, and now
Yes.
they're at capacity at
Correct.
7s, 9s, and 11s. They can't, unless they create new teams, and then they'll need new coaches and all of that kind of stuff.
Correct.
It's just the growth just seems to be astounding.
Absolutely. There's plenty of areas, in the south. You can name the towns, Port Arlington. They haven't got clubs and things like that in the north, Lovely Banks area, so forth. So it's wherever there are areas there aren't clubs.
And there's a football pitch up in the north that is unused. The Lovely Banks Kiev. Remember that, folks?
Ukrainian club.
Yes, the WVSA League of yesteryear would remember that club. It's every time I sort of drive up Lovely Banks and I see it there, and it's unused at the moment. Perfect facility to jump.
No,
into.
correct. No, good point. If anyone's listening and wants to form a club, get in touch.
There are grounds there. Mate,
Victoria.
any final messages for the football community in Geelong?
I don't know. A time. Yeah, probably a time to stick together. We're probably as a sport. I don't think it's about competing against other sports, like we said. It's not about that. I'm a sports person. My kids have played all sports. I mean, every sport deserves investment and funding. Playing sport has got numerous benefits: physical, mental, community inclusion benefits. It doesn't matter. Right? It's not about saying that club from another sport got funding. Good on them. We should all get funding. Okay? No, I think we stick together. The usual. We tried that years ago. It's like all a bit negative, from a few people.
A bit more positive.
Yeah, I think the politicians can use that as an excuse and say, your game's not united, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want anyone out there to contribute to this. Just don't say anything. If you want to support us, support this cause and be part of it.
Yeah.
Speak to your local politician. There's a need for these facilities.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. On that note, we could speak for hours, and we probably will once we switch off the microphones. I'll have a bit longer chat. But, mate, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with yourself. And I'm the chair, Mike McKinstry, throughout the season.
Yep.
And as you said, it's going to be a big year, a record-breaking year. And I think before we even know it, 2026 will be here. And it'll be even bigger year. And it's, as you said, and I'm really excited to hear that planning for 2026 already starts basically now. So good on
you. Thanks, Tonchi. Thanks for having us. And happy to continue to come into the show to provide the updates.
Good on you.
Good on you. Thank you, Tonchi.
And that has been Rob PALMARICIOTTI. He's the Deputy Chair of the Geelong Region Football Committee. Folks, we're going to take a very short break and we'll be back after these very short messages from some of our business advertising sponsors. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast that you are watching. To the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, and it's time now for our next guest. Our next guest, he's the Community Development Coordinator at Western United, and this week we've got the inaugural Western United Geelong Cup taking place at Stead Park from Friday right through to Sunday. And to tell us all about that is the man himself, the Community Development Coordinator at Western United, ADRIAN CANNATELLI. ADRIAN, good evening, and you're coming to us from a driving car, it looks like.
Yeah, thanks, Tonchi. Yeah, nice to be here. I am obviously I'm not driving. I'm the passenger.
That's good to know.
But yeah, no, it's great to be here. Good to have a chat about the Geelong Cup and coming up this weekend. So yeah, it's something that we've been planning for a little while, but it's good to see finally get off the ground and we can get back to our roots in Geelong.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. I guess Western United did start its life in Geelong, and now he's coming back in a big way. We've seen in recent months the development centre has its regular weekly training session at the Leisure Time Sports and Recreation Precinct, but also this weekend, Geelong Soccer Club's Stead Park will play host to the inaugural Western United Geelong Cup. Tell us a bit more about how the idea arose and what's how many teams and all of that is have registered. But let's start off. How did it all come about?
Yeah, so for the past 3 years, we've been running an all-female tournament in Ballarat, and we started off there with about 35 teams in the first year. Then it grew the next year to about 45.
Yep.
And the last edition of it that just ran, we got up to 95 teams.
Wow.
So we've seen massive growth, and that was in female football. We've seen massive growth in the Western regions, in Ballarat. And given we are trying to really grow in all of Western Victoria, not just the inner city suburbs, we really want to get out to all those regions. Geelong is obviously a really big part of our catchment, a really big part of where we want to grow as well as a club. So it sort of just made sense to keep that growth going, not just in Ballarat, but then also hit Geelong as well. So these tournaments we feel are a great way to get junior footballers involved in football, number one, but then also have that relationship with Western United too. So yeah, after the successful growth of the Ballarat tournament, we sort of thought, Geelong's got a massive population of clubs, a massive population of junior footballers as well. So we speak very regularly with the Geelong Council, with Football Geelong as well. Steve Horvat, who's involved at our club, is also a big member in the Football Geelong community as well. So with the help of all, and we got it up and running, and it will be hosted at Geelong Soccer Club, who's got amazing facilities there as well. So a big thank you to them too. But yeah, it was great to see not just the Geelong community rally around it, but all the clubs in the west really, and then some from a little bit further up north have got around the cup. So we've got about 74 teams registered at the moment, which is great for the first year. If we compare it to Ballarat, we had 35 in the first year. So to see 74 teams, boys and girls teams, register in its first year is really really rewarding.
Yeah. Now the tournament, the event is for boys and girls aged from 8 through to 16. And you mentioned some of the clubs that are not just from the Geelong region, that are from outside the Geelong region. What are some of those clubs that are coming down this weekend?
Yeah, so we've got, obviously, as you mentioned, some of the ones from Geelong and those regions. Some of the ones from Surf, we've got some from Surf Coast. But then we've managed to get some of them still interested from Ballarat. So we've got Ballarat Soccer Club and Buninyong as well. We've got Hume City as well, so Northern Regions, a team from Murray United as well, up in Albury-Wodonga, so Murray United coming down as well. And then just, the run-of-the-mill metro teams as well. We've got, all those sort of clubs in the West that compete in their junior tournaments. We thought that the timing of the Cup was very good, just before the Easter break, just before round one, where the clubs can sort of get their final practice matches in. And then maybe play against some clubs that they don't usually play against. We've got George Cross, Moonee Ponds United, Green Gully, Brimbank Stars of clubs that are competing.
What about the local ones? Local ones from Geelong. Which clubs are supporting this in its inaugural event, I suppose?
Yeah, so it's been really good to see some great support from all the Geelong clubs. So obviously Geelong Soccer Club's done a massive job of getting behind the Cup and helping us out. So they've got about 7 or 8 teams in the Cup. North Geelong Warriors, Bell Park. I know I'm going to forget a few. So North Geelong Warriors, Bell Park, Surf Coast, as I mentioned, Geelong Rangers, Corio Soccer Club as well. There's definitely a few more in there that I'm forgetting, but we've had a really, really good response from those clubs. We went and had a meeting with them before we settled on this idea with all the heads of each club, and the response was really good from all of them. The response was that they definitely get around it. They want to see more football in these areas. So when we released the registrations, it was good to see so many teams come in from the local clubs.
That's awesome. And then, as you said, it's just before Easter, just before the actual season starts. So it's the perfect time to have a good pre-season hit out for a lot of these clubs, a lot of these teams. How is it structured? Friday and Saturday pool games, and then Sunday will be the finals, I'm taking it?
Yeah, correct. So we've got Friday night games, Friday night and Saturday all-day games. That'll be the group stages. And then should all teams be successful, which they all will end up playing some sort of games on Sunday, depending on where they finish, they'll either play for the top trophy or they'll play for the second division trophy.
Yep.
Then Sunday will be your quarterfinals, semi-finals, and then finals. And then we've got some Geelong councillors coming down to help us present the trophies.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a fantastic weekend of junior football in Geelong. 74 teams. That is an excellent effort. And I'm sure once people get to see this, they'll certainly be keen to be a part of any subsequent tournaments. And is that the plan, to make it an annual event?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we want to keep growing this tournament, keep growing football in the West as well. Boys and girls, not just with Geelong, with Ballarat, and then hopefully one day we can host a junior tournament at our facility in Tarneit at Ironbark Fields as well. Definitely looking to keep growing this tournament in Geelong for years to come.
Awesome. Adrian, thank you so much for your time, for joining us here on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Just a reminder, folks, there it is on screen, Western United Cup Geelong from the 11th to the 13th of April at Stead Park. If your child is participating, of course, you'll be there. If not, definitely come down and have take a look at some of the region's finest young footballers, both male and female. And Adrian, in the meantime, all the best for this weekend, and hopefully all goes smoothly and according to plan.
Thanks, Donchi. Appreciate it.
Good on you. Adrian Cannatelli, he is the Community Development Coordinator for Western United. All right, folks, it's time for another little break. It's a massive, massive show tonight, and we thank you for being a part of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Don't go away. And that, folks, brings us to the end of yet another episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Thank you for being a part of tonight's show. It's been a fantastic episode. We really appreciate you watching tonight and being a part of tonight's show. We'll be back next Monday night at our usual time of 8 p.m. Until then, have a very, very good week. Bye-bye.